Hello everyone, Turner Burner here with another video for you guys. I'm gonna go over Mac, who is still a very good escape character. I haven't used him a whole lot. I'll probably get back into that even though he's fully maxed. But yeah, I'll show you my escape setup and we'll go from there. So the typical, it varies from map to map, but for the most part, the typical max stack that I use is Crazy Tough, 60% increased health, Boltok Bandolier, 100% increased Boltok capacity. That gives me 38 shots when I start the game, and I can get as many as 78 or 76 or something like that when I fill up throughout the game. Bloody Shot, bleeding damage for 65% of damage, and Adrenaline Junkie, 65% increased damage in Venom, and then Venom Resistance, which is 32% damage or resistance damage while in Venom. This used to be 50%, but unlike Lonnie, Mac is a long distance character, so he does a lot of sniping and shooting from a distance. So this doesn't negatively affect him like it does Lonnie. So this 32% damage resistance really isn't all that big of a deal for Mac, even though it's decreased by 18%. So I know they gave rationale about the Venom Resistance, but I'm just going off of what I see. The ultimate ability is the Barrier. Deploys an invulnerable shield in front of Mac that moves with him. The Barrier, I've seen people do this, does not protect you against melee damage. And if you get melee down while in your barrier, your ultimate instantly ends. So it only protects against bullets. It doesn't protect against a juvie trying to melee you, a scion's about to charge you, an elite drone trying to melee you. You're just going to go down. So, and then also the passive for Mac is damage you take slowly recharges your ultimate. So I haven't seen this a whole lot, but I guess if you just deliberately, get down to a lot as Mac, you'll get your barrier more often. I can't think of a whole lot of reasons why you would do that, but that's something you could do. But Mac in Operation 4 gets his barrier every 2 minutes anyway, which is pretty frequent considering escape matches. So he may get his barrier, if you use your barrier a lot, obviously. You may use it like 7 or 8 times a game. On average, because most of these maps are about 15 minutes or so. But yeah, let's get into the other cards. But yeah, Mac's an excellent character. You'll probably see a solo with Mac here shortly, maybe within the week. Have some ideas for him. Just stay tuned. So Adrenaline Junkie, 65% increased damage in Venom. This used to be required to headshot elite drones or elites, period. Like if Mac had a sniper rifle and he was in Venom, he had to have an active shot to kill the elites. That's no longer the case. Anyone can do it. But what I did notice is Mac can one-shot pouncers similar to Fahz if he has an active long shot in Venom. So I thought that was kind of cool when I experienced that on Ambush. But yeah, so Adrenaline Junkie is good because it gives you increased damage in Venom. That includes melee damage, any bullets, obviously. I guess that would be the only 2 options. So yeah, use pretty much any map that has fast Venom. Maybe not the choke, because that's off the top of my head the only map with slow Venom. But every other map you should probably have this card on. Boltok Bandolier, 115% increased Boltok capacity. Basically, you just get more ammo from the start and throughout the game. So with Escape, typically there's a lot of ammo scarcity, even included with the modifier. It's either in the mod or there's just not a lot of blue packs to pick up. So one thing that a lot of players do is let Mac get the ammo. Like, so if there's like we'll say a sniper rifle or a Nasher for some reason, they'll let Mac pick up both guns. That way he can load up his Boltok, his sniper, and whatever the other gun you guys want to load up. And then he drops the gun that the other character may want. So if it's a Kate, she may want an overkill. So Mac will load up the overkill along with his Boltok and his sniper, and then give Kate the overkill and drop it on the ground. So that's an efficient way so Mac can get, or a smart way to use, to combat the ammo scarcity. And then also everyone has ammo, and then Mac can really load up his Boltok capacity because it gets very, very high at level 6. So Venom Resistance is obvious, just damage resistance while in Venom. If you are in a fast Venom map and you take damage and you don't have this card on, you will notice it because the Venom's going to hurt you, and then also whatever's enemy is going to hurt you as well. See, the Venom Resistance also works to combat the Venom itself, so you also have to keep that in mind as well. So if you don't have this on, you're gonna go up against the Venom itself and the enemy. So almost this card's basically mandatory unless you're into a score run where you're sacrificing certain cards. But this Venom Resistance is virtually mandatory except for the choke, because it's a very slow Venom map. Bloody Shot, I believe it went up from last time. I forget what it was. I want to say it was 60% last time, but I don't remember. Bleeding for 65% of damage. Remember, with Bloody Shot, and you really should be doing this anyway, but the shot's got to be active. So the active shot does more damage anyway because it's active, but the bleeding doesn't even work if it's not active. So you get either if you don't activate, you get no benefit, and if you active, you get 2 benefits, if that makes sense, from the active shot and the bleeding. So a lot of people, one thing to also keep in mind, how these cards are read, you can kind of stack them together in a way. So for instance, if you use Bloody Shot in Venom with Adrenaline Junkie, you're going to get a ton of damage, output, which is good for, if you're trying to shoot a Bastion, as it may only take you like 2 or 3 shots at most but no more than that if you're in Venom with these cards up. So keep that in mind as well, where, characters like Mac and, Lonnie as well, got to be in Venom to maximize who they are. You don't necessarily have to wait for Venom if it's inefficient, but it does maximize these cards, how they're read. So crazy tough, 60% increased health, stacks well with Venom Resistance. So I'm a big fan of high health characters and health cards because it is so lethal on a master level that characters without it just get downed often, or people, or I should say some characters that don't have it, depends, just get downed often, and it's kind of frustrating to be down all the time, or reviving a character that doesn't have any health cards. So anyway, barrier feedback is kills during barrier, extends it by 3 seconds. This card is very, very useful in conjunction with another card later called Barrier Duration. So barrier feedback, if you put the barrier up and you're headshotting, I don't know, drones or whatever, every kill will extend it by 3 seconds. What's nice about the barrier is, so if you're dealing with like regular drones and they're hiding behind cover, if you just are out exposed but you have the barrier up, they will get out of cover and start shooting at you. And while you're behind the shield, you can take off their heads with a sniper or whatever behind the barrier. So that's a very good strategy to use, because if you don't use the barrier and you're just hiding behind cover as well, they're likely just to stay hidden, and it's a lot more difficult time because, they like to camp and they don't move a lot. They only move when it's advantageous to them. So this is a way to combat that depending on the situation. So also works for if you're getting meat shields. So like if you put your barrier up and you see an elite drone and you're throwing a flash, you can meat shield them, and then you can get another flash if it's an elite grenadier as an example. So you can just keep flash and grab, and you could have your barrier for a long time depending on the context of the situation. So don't use this card a whole lot, but For score run purposes, this card could come into play and come very, very handy. Epic score boost speaks for itself. Venom Recharge, each kill while in Venom reduces the cooldown of your ultimate. I believe it's about 3 or 4 kills at this point. This card has become, less useful because of the fact that for some reason Matt gets his ultimate every 2 minutes anyway now. It's very, very fast right now. So, I mean, this card can make it, I guess a minute if you really play your cards right. That's up to you if you want to play that. If you're a barrier heavy person, you could do that. So like if you were going to put it in the stack, you probably would have to take out Boltok capacity and put Venom Recharge in there. If you're a barrier, or if your team or your strategy is to use your barrier a lot. So, or maybe take out the bleed and put Venom Recharge. It depends on, the team lineup, the map, things of that nature. So I like the card, but because he gets his ultimate so fast, it's not as useful because it's almost like a hidden passive that he gets his ultimate that fast. Because him and Clayton at right now get their ultimates like every 2 minutes, almost regardless. So just, keep that in mind for Venom Recharge. All right, so barrier battery is the one I mentioned, barrier duration. So if you have barrier feedback and barrier battery at the same time, you can have, it's similar to Kate's, except Kate's is far better, chain and cloak batteries. So basically for Kate, if she gets kills and her ultimate, it extends her ultimate. This is what barrier feedback and barrier battery could do, except it's a lot more difficult to figure out than Kate's. Kate's can just go up and, execute. Max has to be either a flash or a headshot. So this is a lot more difficult to do, but you can have your ultimate again for a long time if you're getting kills, during it. Dodge, 32% resistance to marksman weapons. The only time I use this card is on Ice Queen. So on Ice Queen, they have a freezing modifier for the snipers. Now granted, I have to try it again, but what typically was, if you had dodge on in conjunction with Venom Resistance, those two cards together, if a freezing sniper sniped you and you're Mac, it did not freeze you. If you're in Venom with those two cards on, it could have updated. I have to give it some tests. They could have, they may freeze anyway now, but that's how it used to be. So yeah, the card works, similar to what I've said in other videos. Health cards really only work when stacked with other health cards. It's just what it is on a master level. In your face, headshot taunts enemies for 7 seconds. Every headshot, how this card's supposed to work. I've had people comment on other videos saying this card does work. I haven't had good experience with it, but for those people, they said they would headshot a Scion or hit a Scion, and then a Lonnie would be able to come up and melee them as the Scion's focused on Mac or something like that. So they're saying this cards work. I can't personally say I've had good experience with it because I don't, but other people have, so it must work on some level. Lethal Barrier, I don't see this as that useful on a master level. This barrier does 130% increased damage to enemies. It's not going to down an elite drone with one shot, so most likely if the elite drone gets hit by it, it's just going to melee you down. If you guys have different experience with this card, let me know, but I haven't used this card since I first started using Mac, because he has just he doesn't have a lot of cards, but he has far better cards that have more value in my opinion. So next thing is barrier boost. So with barrier boost, it increases the size of the barrier by 150%. So situations where that could be useful is if you're, I've seen a strategy used in lethal engagements where if 3 of your teammates are trying to meet you with a bunch of elite drones, Matt can pop the barrier, and if you guys all have flashes, you guys can hide behind the barrier. The elite drones will be shooting at you because to them, you're outside of cover, even though you're behind the barrier. so they will be shooting at you. So you'll be able to, you know, meat shield or headshot, whatever it's more practical, with no risks to getting down because you're behind the barrier. Now, the downfall of max barrier, I'll say, is if you do get down inadvertently, whatever, and Mac has to revive you, he has to do a 180, as an example, regardless of how you back up or whatever. This will allow him to be, or enable to be exposed to gunfire, and if he gets down, the barrier's gone anyway. So do your best in this barrier size thing to stay behind Mac as best you can. That way he doesn't go down and you can maximize this barrier size. Heads up, take no damage from friendly fire. The cards, the idea is interesting, but if you get, I mean, there's some friendly fire is typically on, at least on a master level, with people that, you know, play the game. It's usually maybe a joke in the beginning. You may have someone like, you know, pistol you or something like that, but it doesn't warrant putting this card on. Maybe if your teammate planted a grenade and, you know, killed a juvie and the nade was near you, maybe, I don't know. Or if there's a Cole using all the glory, you don't want to get hurt by it. But there's just not enough instances to warrant giving this a whole card. When you, I mean, it's not like you get 10 skill cards in these master matches. You only get 5, so you have to choose semi-wisely. So you can use it if you want, but I don't recommend it. He has other cards that are more relevant. But that's Mac. I'm gonna start playing with him more, maybe for solos. I don't need anything as far as skill cards from him. There's other characters that I need. He's been super max for a while, but yeah, guys, let me know what you think of Mac and this like how he is in this operation. A lot of his stuff is better, except for the Venom Resistance. The capacity is better. The Bloody Shot's better. I believe the Venom Recharge is even better. I believe the Junkie used to be 60%. So he's one of the rare characters where everything actually, or most things, improved. A lot of things have been nerfed or altered negatively in this operation, but he's pretty much improved through all of his cards. But yeah, pretty much it for Mac. You know, if you have any thoughts or opinions on Mac, what your current Mac stack is, let me know in the comment section. And thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next video. You guys have a good one.